Is this video for sailing and entertainment purposes only? You're dang skippy it is.
Who's your favorite reaction channel? Somebody asked. Karina.
I held on to the nurse.
Nurse, clear my schedule.
Obsessed with Karina Kaboom.
What's wrong with Karina Kaboom? She's a nice lady.
I was ghosted tonight.
He had one bite of those eggs and he accepted.
Eggs.
What's it like knowing that your Amberlynn's the one that got away? I am not fazed.
It's the holidays.
What are you doing?
Hello everybody. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Mr. Snowflake's interview with Casey. So Casey, Amberlynn Reid's ex, has completely exposed her and revealed a lot of truths about her, except for one thing that he said. Nothing else really kind of surprised me. I am not surprised by the majority of the things that he has said and revealed, because the majority of this stuff is literally sprinkled all over Amber's channel. He basically did say that who she is presenting herself to be online is not who she really is. And I've always said that to you, okay? It's interesting how she always trashes reaction channels for giving their opinions, but the majority of her exes have said these type of things as well. It's interesting. Casey said that over the years, Amberlynn has honed her skills and she's like gotten better, I'm paraphrasing, gotten better at like pretending pretty much. But he said she's not who she's pretending to be, because with him, he said that she was outwardly mean, but she, of course, is trying to change this for the camera. I always say that live streams, she's who, she is. That's why she can't edit the live, but on camera, she's not who she's pretending to be. Basically, I just want to do a little disclaimer. Most of you that have watched my videos know that I have a dumb, silly channel. I have frogs. I have silly things, and I talk about silly topics, and I like to have a good time when I make videos. The majority of that video is very serious that Casey did, the interview. I'm going to link it down below. By all means, please watch it. There's certain things that I'm not going to be discussing on my channel because those are not the topics that I am personally comfortable discussing. I like to have a good time, a silly time. I have a dumb, silly channel, as most of you would know. So there's certain things that I will not be discussing. But we will talk about a lot of the exposés that Casey gave on Mr. Snowflake's channel. Make sure you watch that video. We're going to get into it. There's a lot to unpack. Basically, everything you ever thought about Amberlynn Reid is actually true. Yes, I believe Casey. And as always, my videos are in general for entertainment purposes only. Please do not go to the people's channels that I'm going to be talking about and leave them mean-spirited, negative, disparaging comments. I'm sharing my own opinions, not facts, on publicly accessible information made public by public figures. Okay, I first wanted to discuss Casey's relationship with Amberlynn. If you don't know what happened between them, Amberlynn posted a video when she was first starting to become popular, accusing Casey of certain things. Casey did a rebuttal that is still on his channel. Amberlynn deleted her video, okay? After that, Amberlynn made fun of the situation by writing a poem, Rain and Petals Eavesdrop, and then she even sang about it. So, seems like you're taking the situation seriously. Basically, what Casey said is, like, the gist of the interview is that her accusations that he vehemently denies have completely ruined his life. There are ex-partners that he dated that knew about it. There are so many ways that it has affected his life, and it still gets brought up, and he basically doesn't trust anyone, in part, not only because of Amberlynn, in part of lots of different relationships, but basically, like, his whole point of the video, which I think is important, is he's not the guy. That's what he says. He's not the guy from the video, from the Amberlynn drama. He's just him. He's a human being, and it has drastically affected his life. Just like he talks about, when Amberlynn never said his name, him and his ex-fiance were still found. People knew that she was talking about him, and she, of course, begged him to take down the video, sent a bunch of crying, texts, please take down the video. He also said that Destiny at the time, our girl Destiny, who was dating Amberlynn at the time, sent him like a threatening message, but he actually in the video gives a warning all of Amberlynn's future partners and says, like, please do not, pretty much I'm paraphrasing, please don't date her, think about it, it's not a good idea, watch the videos on her first about what she's done to her partners. We've always talked about that, how badly she's treated her partners, okay? He then also says that he does not have any ill will. He doesn't harbor any negative feelings towards Destiny and Becky. He feels very bad for what Amberlynn has done to Becky. Okay, so let's just get into some of the ways that he's exposed Amber, although, except this one thing I'm briefly going to mention, everything is out there about her, okay? So he talks about how when they were dating, they were teenagers. Amberlynn asked for a photo of him, and she was definitely not allowed to have this photo. Basically, what Casey is talking about, like what he's saying that she was engaging in with him, like trying to get a picture from him, is actually the reason that, like, you know, the whole thing with Foodie Beauty, why Foodie Beauty originally lost her channel, why Foodie Beauty's channel was originally deleted. We're talking about the same type of topic. This story is disgusting. If you look at her altercations with friend Libby years ago, and if you watch the things that she says to Libby, isn't that really surprising?
I don't like Amberlynn at all.
Other than that, that's the big bombshell that he like drops. My personal opinion as to how Amberlynn will respond to this is one of a few things. Obviously, she's more than likely going to have a trip to the ER.
Thanks for nothing.
She's going to have some kind of a medical emergency. If you don't know what I mean by that, whenever she is exposed for being herself, whenever anyone basically like makes videos about her, like from her past or anything like that, she needs to, in my opinion and in the community's opinion, manipulate the situation. It's a manipulation tactic to have people focus on another serious thing in her life. Like, for example, if she tells you that she has a medical situation going on, it's a lot harder to call her out for being exactly who she is and how Casey exposed her, right? Okay. So she just invents a medical situation or conveniently tells you about one that she hasn't told you about before. Expect story times, expect her to say, like, oh my God, or my favorite, other than the medical emergency thing, is she's gonna say something soul crushing happened to her and she can't get into it, or she'll tell you some kind of a sob story, okay, that she's been saving for a rainy day. This is my opinion. I think that she saves negative things that have happened to her for like manipulation purposes only. Don't be throwing nuts at me. I know what you're thinking. Okay. Where she can manipulate the audience into focusing onto something else other than her past bad behavior. It's a manipulation tactic where she tells you something bad from her past or from her current situation type deal to change the narrative to poor me other than her being ABU. So that's going to happen more than likely. If that doesn't happen, she's either just going to fully ignore it or do an aggressive Instagram Q&A saying that none of this is true. But she may just also fully ignore it. One of the fun things that I've seen is that when you go to her channel yesterday, she must have filtered the comments because I couldn't see a lot of comments about this topic. Why not? She ran to her comments, and there's something that you can do so you understand in your comment section where you can hold all the comments for review. I don't know if you know that. And it won't tell the audience that all the comments are being held for review going forward after a bunch have been posted. So, I mean, also the type of person that Amberlynn is on the internet, I'm sure that she's probably secretly loving this because she doesn't have to put out work and people are talking about her, right? And it's just going to get her more views on her new video. Rinse, lather, delusion, Kermit, repeat. I want you to ask yourself this question. Why is it that when you go to Amberlynn's latest video, there's some snowflake emojis because she, you know, she didn't think to hide that. But why are there not a ton of comments about what she did to Crystal, what she did to Casey? Why is that? Because she's holding most of the comments for review. Okay, or she's going to be looking at them before she approves them, and she won't approve any of your comments. Like, at the time that I'm filming this video, Snowflake's video has 62,000 views. Okay, Amber's video has 39,000 views, and it only has that because people are going to her video after Snowflake's video. The bottom line is she's holding all the comments for review. Some of the things in the relationship that he talks about that happened between him and Amber are just like, it's just very difficult to even talk about, okay? First of all, there's a lot of information out there on YouTube where Amberlynn herself has made she's made like transphobic comments. She has, okay? It's out there, okay? He said that when he told her that, you know, he was trans, she literally said, quote, not gonna date a boy, I like dating girls, you'll never be a father.
Oh no, you did.
That you do not say that to a person that just watched Boys Don't Cry and is just like telling people like about who he really is. You do not say that. You offer acceptance. And if she really didn't want to be with him for whatever reasons, she certainly shouldn't have said, you'll never be a father, you know, you're not a guy, you'll never be their father. What? Like, listen, this is more of the same BS that is on her own channel. I believe she's never deleted it, where she was upset that Casey was like, you know, binding his chest. So, I mean, I'm not surprised whatsoever. Okay. Follow Amber, you'll know that whenever she's in any live stream, she gets asked about this all the time. Like, you know, how would you feel about dating this type of person or whatever? And she always is like, oh yeah, I'm so accepting. I'm so accepting. BS. Look, I think that over the years, and I'm sure of this is my opinion, but I'm 100 on this. She's figured out all the right things to say on the internet. If you've been working on the internet for a long time, you get to know what to say and what not to say. Is she always perfect? No. But the thing is, she knows all the right things not to say. She says that she's not like that. She's changed. By the way, I want to show you something from her Instagram. When Mr. Snowflake was talking about having the Casey interview and everything, this is what Amber posted. If this doesn't show you what damage control is and that she knows what she's doing, nothing will. Posted this, I came across a quote that said, if you went back and fixed all the mistakes you ever made, you would erase yourself, and that's all I've ever needed to hear. How about an apology to Casey? How about an apology to all the people that you have heard? Here's the thing. She knew that Casey interview was coming because Mr. Snowflake announced it. She posted that after the original video about victims of the empath. She's trying to say she's a different person. She knew what was coming. She's known what she's done. She knows how she's accosted all the people that she dated, or at least the majority of them. By the way, in a few minutes, you will understand why all of Destiny's stories about Amberlynn are true. So it's just damage control. It's just smoke and mirrors. I don't believe that she has changed. The thing that you told Casey when he told you that, you know, he wanted to be a father is honestly the single most worst thing that I've ever heard her say. And honestly, I'm a little upset that I even know about this because, you know, the more you hear, the worse it becomes with that, you know, documentary. It's very well done. It's just that, like, at some point you hear so many bad things you don't even want to, like, it's worse. It gets worse and worse. Then he tells a very terrible story about how he got Christmas money when he was dating her from a family member, and he was going to buy himself 2 games, and Amberlynn said, you know, if you don't buy me something, I'm going to be really mad at you, and I'm going to, you know, be so angry, and walked out of the store and all this other stuff. And so he had to give her half of his Christmas money. I am not surprised that she is controlling and mean-spirited, okay? So to take money away from your partner that was his money to spend on Christmas, okay? Because people are not made of money, okay? Nobody has millions and millions of dollars. And, well, why didn't I get something? You need to spend half of this on me. Don't get 2 games for yourself, Casey, she said. You know, just get 1. Why? What does this have to do with you? Controlling, financially controlling, the same thing that she did to Becky. As soon as her and Becky broke up, oh, Becky dumped her, Becky needs to pay the bills here. Listen, financial mistreatment, and I want to use another word, you know what I'm trying to say, is very serious. She was doing it to Casey even when she didn't have money. Did Becky even have a choice? You know, like when she was in control of money, even Casey said, like, now she has the money to do even worse, pretty much, you know. At that point, she wasn't even financially good. She literally was going to be homeless. Now is a great time to talk about this. She did all these things to Casey. Casey saved her from being homeless. Let me explain something. Amberlynn does nothing but talk about what an amazing mother and what an amazing family she has. But yet, Casey confirmed that when she went to see Casey, right, just to visit, she had to stay there permanently because her grandma told her that she can't come back. And grandma said, you can't come back. That's great that you're working on, you know, your relationship with your family, but let's not pretend that your family wanted there. Casey was so horrible, according to Amberlynn, yet Casey was the one that saved her and let her live in his house rent-free. This is going to be the first time. Then Crystal did the same thing because mom and grandma couldn't have her come back. In my opinion, the reason why it's so important to hear out Casey, besides hearing his truth and his story finally, is because what you see is the things that Destiny and Becky have been telling us about their relationship with Amber get repeated over and over and over again. They started with Casey. They then moved on to these behaviors repeated themselves with Crystal, and then to Destiny, and then to Becky. For example, when Becky was working on the live streams with Amberlynn, Amberlynn promised to give her the money and never did. Becky said she didn't see a dime of that money, right? Okay.
I've had zero money. That's car insurance, car payment, phone bill. I have storage, few other things like I owe for Netflix to Amberlynn.
Someone please explain to me why Becky would owe a woman who literally was making, at the time, this was during 2021, her live stream era. Amberlynn was making at least $200,000 a year, but Becky owed you on Netflix. My point here is this: what Casey is talking about, it repeats the patterns that she has in relationships. Repeats what she's going to say over and over again is that she's a changed person. She's not this person, aka also known as, by the way, this isn't true what Casey is saying, or she will ignore it or have, a manipulative like medical emergency. But what I'm trying to say here is that these financial controlling ways, and just in general how she controls her partners, have repeated. And the reason that I know that is because her partners have said it. Well, she wanted to take away Casey's money as well, even though it wasn't hers. Controlling, financially controlling, doesn't really treat partners well, in my opinion. He then talks about, this is very interesting. A lot of you are going to be very upset about what he said about this if you didn't watch the interview. He said that she had an altercation and accosted Crystal, okay? Crystal, who bought her iPod Touch, who did everything for her, where she lived rent-free, and Crystal's parents paid for her. He said that she had an altercation and accosted Crystal. Why does this matter? Because patterns always repeat. People don't change no matter how much, in my opinion, they tell you that they will. So Casey is saying that he had to deal with the same thing from Amber during the relationship. He also says that she did this to Crystal. And Destiny, when Destiny did her videos, told you guys who watched the video that Amberlynn had like this incident with like a 7-Up bottle, like, like Code Red or whatever it was. I don't know. Some soda bottle, right? And Amberlynn continuously denied it. But Destiny said, no, it happened, and Amber denied it. Yeah, there's a pattern. It's repeating how you treat partners. You're the same with all partners because you haven't changed and you're the same person. Now that story about the Code Red takes on more meaning now that you have other people that have dated her that are saying, yeah, she's capable of this. She does this. Oh, and by the way, she did it to Crystal too. He then said that on the same day that she did something with Crystal, she did something with him.
Nurse, clear my schedule. Hey, girl.
Rinse, lather, delusion, Kermit, repeat. The thing is that about Amberlynn, she always says that she's not a cheater, that she would never cheat. And before she gives the whole song and dance and Kermit about how she was in an open relationship with Casey, he talked about that. That's why I'm telling you to check out the interview. He said that she wanted to date other girls, but was not okay with him dating other people in this open relationship. Me, okay? So when she tries to sell you this line of, that she's never cheated, doing things in the same day. I'm not judging her for doing things in the same day with two different people. But what I will judge her for is continuously lying and saying that, she's not a cheater and she would never do this. Okay. He basically said that it was a very tumultuous bad relationship. Yeah, well, he's saying that that's what he experienced in the relationship. And my opinion, it's very terrible and sad. He seems really broken after all of his relationships, but it's obvious that her accusations against him have, this is just my opinion, ruined his life. Then Casey describes a few stories from their relationship where Amber took Casey's phone, threw it across the room. Casey was very fond of drawing and made this nice picture, and Amberlynn was mad and she took her pencil or a pen or whatever and ruined the picture. Okay, went into the picture and ruined it because she was supposedly mad.
Give you a couple minutes before you start talking again.
At Casey, who does that? Casey also discussed that, Amberlynn was very controlling. It's very clear. She didn't want him being friends with anyone, and she was always accusing him of cheating. Now, if we stop right here and we go to Destiny, right? Destiny, when she told us about her experience with Amberlynn, she also said that Amberlynn was super controlling, that Destiny wasn't allowed to have like lunch with anyone but with Amber on the phone. She couldn't be friends. She also accused of Destiny of cheating. So the point is, it's not just a Destiny thing because Destiny was like, whatever, like emotionally cheating or whatever. So Amber had a feeling. It's everyone. She was controlling in all of her relationships. We know how she controlled Becky. That was blatant, in my opinion. Okay. Where Becky couldn't do anything. And by the way, it's very interesting because Casey discusses Becky a lot and he says, Beck, I feel so bad for you. Like, Casey brings up that inappropriate TikTok that Amberlynn made while Becky was picking out a headstone for her mother. If you don't know, basically Amberlynn was feigning all of this. Oh, I'm so sad. Oh, my mother-in-law is gone. All of this was BS because she was sitting there and literally making really inappropriate TikToks that I can't really show here about certain movies while Beck is out here, picking out the headstone for mom. So that's that. Listen, this is the stuff that you put out, Amberlynn. A lot of this stuff you can't even hide. So I'm not surprised. So what Casey was saying is that like he would not be able to not visit his mother that was very ill because Amberlynn said so, and he felt a lot for Becky, and he was like saying, Beck, I understand you, like this is like terrible what she put you through, and he talked a lot about Becky. And he basically said that he doesn't feel any ill will towards any of her exes. And like I said before, like, hey, like he really doesn't think that people should date Amberlynn. You should do your research. By the way, it always amazes me whenever she has a new girlfriend. Well, I mean, people just don't care. I think a lot of people want to use her for money and people just don't care. That's just my personal opinion. Because keep in mind that the majority of Amber's partners are people that have looked her up on YouTube and saw the videos and still don't care. Another incident that Casey describes that's incredibly upsetting to hear about, where he says that he was having an anxiety panic attack and he called up Amberlynn on the phone and, to try to get some comfort from your partner, right? That's what, I mean, anyone that has had anxiety or panic attacks knows that this happens. You want to, sometimes you want to talk to somebody. So when he called her up on the phone, she started yelling and screaming at him. And like, he was saying that she was yelling so bad that like the house was like shaking almost, like I'm paraphrasing. And then later on she called him back and she was like, well, you made me upset at work because you had an anxiety attack and people were looking at me. And I'm just like sitting here like, wow, not surprised. I'm sorry, disappointed, but not surprised. Like, I want you to comment down below, other than the big bombshell that, whatever was dropped, like, are you really that surprised? It was all out there before. It's in her own video. She won't delete anything. All of her behavior is out there. And the thing is, like, I know that she's going to say that, like, like I said before, she's going to make up some excuse, but she's either going to say that Casey is lying. She's not going to say anything at all. Okay. But these are very specific stories that Casey is recalling from his past. My opinion is that they're all true. He has way too many details. You could see that he's recalling what happened to him. So, also, there's something else that's very interesting. Mr. Snowflake asks in the interview, like, what kind of physical ailments did Amberlynn have when she was with you, right? Because Amber always says, I was diagnosed with this, I was diagnosed with that. By the way, I know the way that Amberlynn Reid operates, so if Amber wants to say that I'm denying that she has anything, no. www.no, this never happened magazine. That's not what I'm doing. I believe her that she has certain ailments. I'm just talking about what Casey said, okay? At the time when Amberlynn was with Casey, Casey said she wasn't diagnosed with anything that she claimed she was already diagnosed with. This is really important. Already diagnosed with. I'm not talking about the obvious things that she had after Casey. I'm talking about, what did Casey know about? Casey said she only had cellulitis. That's it. That's the only thing that she had that she talks about. So Mr. Snowflake was like, Amber always says she was diagnosed with this at 9, this at 16, this at 14. He asked Casey, did she have this? He said no. So make your own conclusions. A lot of people wonder what she has, what she doesn't have. I personally don't care. I believe her that she has certain things, but I don't believe like every single statement that she's ever made on the internet. Does that make sense? Yes, I believe her, she has certain ailments, but it's very interesting what Casey said. And by the way, Casey did say that he was not petty, and there was a lot, you could see that there was a lot that he didn't say, because, for example, there was apparently some certain issues that he said he would not talk about certain things with hygiene and all that stuff. So you could just imagine, like, the things that he said were bad enough, but you could just imagine what else he's not saying. My opinion is that Amberlynn was a negative force in people's lives and still is. That is why she doesn't really have anybody right now, okay? That's why all the girlfriends broke up with her. My opinion is that she's a controlling girlfriend, in a lot of cases more than controlling. She's the aggressor in certain situations. Maybe this is why, because this is just my opinion. Why hasn't Crystal ever come out and said anything? Is it because that you always say that you're like the victim of everything, but meanwhile you've been the aggressor in many type of situations? Like, it is just amazing to me that the majority of what Casey said I already figured out. I only didn't know, like, one thing about that picture situation. Everything else I'm pretty much just in general not surprised about. Casey's point in that interview, like, is that his life has been severely negatively affected by the Amberlynn Reid video that she did. uh like, he's single now, he's been single for 3 years. Every relationship has been like a downward spiral, and most of his partners knew about the Amber situation, and it affected a lot of his relationship. Becky has posted a community page post stating that she suffers every day. Beck suffers every day because of what, you know Amber did to Beck. And Casey has now come out and said that he's been suffering for years over the Amber video. You understand? So, like, she leaves a trail of how she treats people. And basically, she always wants to come out and she always wants to say, like, I'm not this person. Who are you then? Because I have been covering Amberlynn drama for 3 years. And other than the picture thing, absolutely everything he said, I already figured out. You understand? So you're not hiding it, it's right in front. That's why she doesn't want to do live stream. So I feel just incredibly bad for Casey that his whole life has been ruined by Amberlynn. There's not much that I can say about that except wishing him all the best. Amber is the same girlfriend to most people. Personal opinion, the biggest mistake she's ever made on the internet is introducing Casey to her audience in this horrible way, because she never thought that he would stand up for himself and reveal the truth. Had she never talked about her relationship with Casey on the internet, because she was not on YouTube while she was dating Casey, no one needed to know about her and Casey. Had she not introduced Casey to her audience, I think her entire career would have been different. She gets asked all the time in live streams and in Instagram Q&As, what is the biggest mistake? What is the one thing you wish you didn't do on YouTube? And she always says, oh, I wish I hadn't shared as much. Yeah, it's about Casey. She wishes that she never talked to people about Casey. Look, you guys know, who have watched me for a long time, I always wish her the best. I wish everyone that I talk about all of the possible best. I only have one thing to say here. Amberlynn says that Destiny is lying about everything that Destiny is saying. She says that Becky is not being honest, and she's promising to sue Becky in private if Becky speaks out about her. So Becky is lying, Destiny is lying, Crystal won't speak. My opinion is, even if you believe that some people are lying, so who do you believe? Are we going to believe Amber, that Destiny is lying, that Becky is lying, that Casey is lying? Or are we going to believe three separate people that have nothing to do with each other, that all have the same story? So please let me know what you think about this whole situation type deal in the comments down below. I don't like making like semi-serious videos, and I don't plan on making any more of them. I like to joke around and have Kermit. So see you tomorrow for more of that. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time that you put into watching me talk and hearing me talk and just sitting around and just communicating with me. So I really appreciate your time today. If you enjoyed today's video, there's going to be a video that's going to pop up that's going to be similar to this. Please check it out if you wish, and I will see you on my next one. Thanks for being here. Bye.